What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and we have got the update notification for the upcoming update in a couple of days, and we have got REMIX for Gatrie Claude and Ullr. So Fallen Star 2 does have Deep Star built in, so now he has got the 80% damage reduction even against the brave hits, and he also inflicts -5 speed and defense debuff on the foe, and he deals true damage based on X multiplied by 5, and X is going to be the total number of bonus status active on him and the number of penalty status active on foe. So maybe with his weapon refine he's able to give himself many status effects like the order status, maybe the damage reduction piercing status, something like that could be helpful. And he is missing Canto, so maybe Canto 1 as the status, so he's able to get up to 25 true damage, which is going to be helping him quite a lot with his damage output against the modern threats in Arena. And he also gets flat damage reduction based on X multiplied by 3 on foe's first attack. So Deep Star has got a lot of damage reduction, but it is completely pierceable, so having some unpierceable damage reduction is going to be making it easier for him to survive and maybe double the enemy. And then after the combat he's able to get the Deep Star status on himself and inflicts gravity on the target and foes in one spaces of that target, so it does count towards the status effects that he wants out of Fallen Star 2. And maybe he can give the status effects out of his weapon to his allies and maybe inflict something like panic status on the enemy, because he's going to be functioning mainly as an arena unit. He could be used in Summoner Duels now that Fallen Star 2 has been fixed with Deep Star, but still I don't really see him being used in Summoner Duels that much because that game mode is very cutthroat, and if he gets some kind of special jumping to trigger Deadeye easily, just like his Wind Trap version, that would actually be pretty helpful, even though it's not really as insane anymore because of the scale effects that we have got. And even in Arena, you're going to be facing a lot of Winter Byleths that are going to be stopping you in your tracks. But still, special jumping could help him trigger his specials easily, and that's one of the things that he has got. So maybe he can use the status effects for that effect as well. And then he does get Guidance 4 as a slotty skill. So if you have Combat Manuals of Gatrie Claude, then you have Guidance 4 now. And if you use them a lot in Arena, then you probably gave him Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance, which is going to be a bit redundant at this point, but yeah, at least it is helpful for arena usage. And this is overall a pretty good remix, and like I said, with his weapon he could function as a pretty nice supportive unit that debuffs the enemy and gives you the visible status effects and maybe gets the special jumping. And then we have got Ullr with her remix to Yngvi Ascendant Plus, so now it is going to be inflicting -5 speed and defense debuff, and it has got the full null follow-up. And if decreasing the speed necessary to make a follow-up attack by 10 would allow to trigger a follow-up attack, then she gets the full 100% potent follow-up attack, which is really good. And then she's got Desperation built into the skill, and she's going to be a combat-centric mythic unit, so having as many effects as you possibly can on her is going to be helping her. Maybe she can get some true damage out of her weapon, that would be helpful, because many times Ullr does run an AoE build with Asker in that same season, and a lot of times on Gale Force teams you can just go in with an AoE build. So I hope that you can get true damage that applies on the AoE specials as well. That is something that would help her quite a lot. And she already has Null Guard in her weapon, so she's going to be depending on Deadeye for the damage reduction piercing, but I hope that they can give her some passive form of damage reduction piercing or half damage reduction piercing, because you cannot really run, physical non follow-up in her slot B anymore. So having that on the hits where you don't trigger Deadeye is going to be really important for busting up the save units in Aether Raids offense. And she's going to be a combat-centric mythic, so she really needs all of the help, and she doesn't really have any kind of supportive effect to fall upon. And we did see a combat-centric weapon refine on Freya, and it was definitely pretty solid. And now with all of the tools that you have got with stuff like Beast Threaten, Freya can function much better, but again, Ullr is a range unit, so she's not going to be able to Gale Force. And this is overall a pretty solid remix. And she also has Attack Speed Oath 4 as a remix skill, so there is Peony for the order status in Light Season, but still this can help you offensively. And I'm definitely looking forward to her Refine, because back when she came out she used to be really good, but as is the case with a lot of the combat mythics, they just kind of fall off. And then we also have Refines for the other units, and we are getting Refine for Summer Duo Byleth. So she has got a pretty basic weapon with null follow-up, so I think that she's probably going to be getting Null Guard or full tempo just like original Byleth. And Rhea is also there, so I don't know how they could implement Rhea. Maybe they could have some kind of special jumping as a way to counter the scout skill. So I could see that happening, and she's probably going to be getting some kind of damage reduction because she doesn't really have Divine Pulse as a special. So I could see her getting that, and she's still going to be trying to run Wind Sweep or Water Sweep. Whenever we get the tier 4 version of these skills, that is definitely going to be really good for her. And until then, there's not a lot of options for a ranged flyer. You can run Occultist Strike, but there is Breath of Life 4. And Duo Byleth is going to be getting a much awaited Weapon Refine, and Seteth is also going to be getting one, and he actually jumped the queue. So he was after Ileana, but it seems like Ileana will have to wait for like 2 months until she gets her Weapon Refine. So Spear of Acil is a bit of a supported weapon, but I hope that its range is upgraded to 3 rows and 3 columns centered on Seteth, and maybe he can give out some kind of healing like Glenn, because Spear of Acil does give you the healing, and he could even give out the damage reduction, kind of like Flame. So I could see him function as a supportive Lance Flyer, and recently they have definitely not missed with Gall and Ashnard with their Weapon Refine. So I hope that he can also get a really solid supportive Weapon Refine that can make him unique. And then we have got a Refine for Caellach. So Ascended Joshua does come with Green Feud for Caellach, so maybe he can try and emulate that and have Null Counter Disrupt and like flat damage reduction in his weapon. So that would make him much better against Ascended Joshua. And he might get a stat ball type of Weapon Refine like Nemesis, because his stat spread is kind of all over the place. And even though he does have a good mixed bulk, he does have a lot more speed than he needs. So that is something that could happen for him. And then we've got Gatrie, and I'm not the biggest fan of the armor refines that we've got. The only armor refine that I kind of like is Flame Emperor. So hopefully Gatrie can get something like that, and he's going to be having special charges in his weapon because of having Spirited Spear. And he doesn't really need to get some kind of guaranteed follow-up attack because he already gets Crafty Fighter, and you can also run Vengeful Fighter 4 on him. So I hope that they use the design space to give him other effects, and he does have a pretty high defense stat, so he could function as a good near safe unit if they really give him a lot of good effects. And then finally we have got a Weapon Refine for Dieck. So his Weapon Refine does have this annoying threshold, which I hope they fix, and he gets the guaranteed follow-up attack out of this weapon. So maybe like a lot of the Axe infantry units like Ocean, Echidna, and Rinka, he could get like some damage reduction or even flat damage reduction on defense and get the damage reflection and special charges. So that is something I can see happening, and because he does have a minus and special cooldown weapon, he can definitely use something like Gust, for example, or even Godlike Reflexes at max investment. The next month is going to be also pretty exciting for the weapon refines, because Choose Your Legend 6 units are going to be getting their refines, which a lot of people have been waiting for. And Newer Keaton is also going to be getting his Grail Refine, and there are going to be 2 Byleths getting a weapon refine next month. So Legendary Female Byleth can also get it, and E3 as well. So these are the refines that you can expect next month, and they're pretty much confirmed at this rate. We should not be getting any kind of demote refine or even a seasonal refine, because Choose Your Legends refine is happening, and they usually don't do that when they refine Choose Your Legends units. And we also have a couple of ephemera units. We've got Marianne here instead of Brave Marianne, who I would have liked for her Unity skill, but this Marianne also gives you a B-Dual Infantry 4, which is kind of outdated at this point, and she also has lull attack resistance. And then we've got Thief Cat, and she only gives you attack speed push 4, which is not the greatest skill, and Blue Feud is, I guess, useful in some scenarios, but still not as useful as Colorless Feud. So you're only really going to be getting the push 4 skill, and the 5-star manuals this time are really not that good. And then we have got Valentine Vigard giving you Axe of Devotion, which is the pre-combat damage axe. So it's a pretty amazing weapon if you don't really have Arcane Thrima, and it is a really solid weapon on many of the axe units, just to stack up that pre-combat damage with stuff like Flared Sparrow, Assassin Strike, and such. So even though we have got Breath of Life 4, this can still give you a lot of pre-combat damage, and if you're not following him for that, then Attack Defense Form is also there. Even follow-up is not the greatest skill, and mainly you're going to be using him for Acts of Devotion. Then we've got Fee giving you Reposition, which is always good, and she also has Drive Speed. She does have Aerobatics 3 at 5-star, which can be helpful on many of the dancers. And then we also have Guy giving you Life and Death 3. So if you want some bridge fodder for Verge of Death, then you could try and get him. Altena is going to be there with Sturdy Stance 2, which is definitely outdated. And then finally we have got Seth giving you Fortress Defense, which is not a skill which you run on a lot of units, and only units like Mila and such are going to be wanting to have this. We also have some arena rewards being updated, so now you can get the ticket so that you can summon some of the units which have been removed from the 5-star pool and basically in the special raid. And we're also going to be getting additional maps, which we did see in the FEH channel. Aether Raids is going to be having all of the schools being upgradable to level 13, and Aether Resort is going to be getting Haya Papaya from Engage, which is Yunaka's theme basically, and Tension from Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn. And Summoner Duels is also getting updated, so the max favor level is going to be 4600, and they're going to be having a new captain skill in Piercing Cold. So like the name suggests, it is going to be having the frozen status, which is insane. So at sort of turns 2 through 5, if the captain is within 6 spaces of the foe, you inflict -7 speed debuff and the frozen status on the closest foes to captain and the foes in 2 spaces of those foes. So this is going to be another raid boss buff because frozen is a really strong status for many of the slower units and even units that have like middling speed, but they do have the defense. And this does inflict speed debuff, so it actually helps you even more so that you don't get doubled. So the Diamant effect out of the frozen status is going to be pretty insane, and I think that we're probably going to be getting an Ice Tribe banner this year that is going to be having more frozen units, which is going to be even more annoying to face a lot of these tanks with Lagoose Friend, and then you're not able to double them, but they're able to double you despite being slow. So that is a pretty insane captain skill that we have got. And then we're going to be having Jared and Summer Vake added into the Heroic Grail shop, so you can try and merge them up. And they're going to be having the other things which they did mention in the FEH channel. So available memento events is going to be getting updated, and Abyssal difficulty is going to be added into United Warfront. So you can get more Dragon Flowers and Divine Codes, which is always welcome. And then the new Hero Fest banner is going to be replacing the Starter Hero Fest. So any kind of new player can have access to it. And then we're going to be having the weekly revival and everything. And they're going to be having some other changes as well to some of the weapon sprites. So Dog Creator Sword, Arid Bar Crusher, and Freakugel are going to be getting their sprites updated. So they're going to be having the glow similar to Ledgering Claude's weapon. And I believe Ledgering Edelgard also got that when she got her weapon refined. So they're fixing up the crest weapons and adding some glow to it. And they're going to be fixing a screen error with the combat manuals, which has been for a while, I think. So this bug is going to be getting fixed. And I'm really glad that a lot of these units are going to be having now the glowy weapon, especially Nemesis with his Dark Creator Sword. So that is going to be everything for this update. I want to thank all of my 2 members for their constant support. And you can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of this month's Double Mythic banner. And make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as annoying as the frozen status. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.